Hi, my name is Heather Feather. I'm the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today I wanted to talk about the only problem. What? I only have one problem? Seems like I have a bunch. Well, actually, let's look at the foundational root issue of what any given problem is. What types of problems can we have? And after spending quite a bit of time stewing on this and considering it, I would welcome always your comments, your thoughts, your opinions down below. Let me know what you think, and if you can think of any arena where this isn't true. But the only problem you really face is the concept of separation. Fundamentally, everything in all of the cosmos is unified because everything is made out of atoms. This is one undulating blob of energetic dynamic. And that energetic blob of dynamic is a unified field of sameness. There is no separation, there is no distinction, there is no differentiation. There's just atoms. The atoms are subatomic particles. The subatomic particles have quarks. But fundamentally, although everything may not have a cellular nature, it does have an atomic nature. And foundationally, that's what everything is comprised of. But when we start to consider the problems or issues or challenges or trials and tribulations that a two-legged will face, really consider every problem you face. Take a look at it. Is it rooted in a concept of separation? Are you having an issue in your job because you feel separate, distinct, or different from some other personality matrix? You feel like, I'm not like them, and we are different, and they are separate from me because I would not behave that way. Are you having an issue with your finances because you feel that you are separate from abundance and prosperity and things to be grateful for? Have you diverted your attention from the many infinite graces that you face? Like I've said before, like you can be homeless and still have the ability to taste food. What a grace. Still have the ability to hear a car that's coming so you can get out of the way, stay alive. So like there are an infinite number of graces and gifts and offerings and resplendent opportunity to recognize one's own prosperity and abundance. However, we also have the capacity and the ability to feel separate from abundance and prosperity. Most of those that live in the West don't even know what lack of prosperity tastes like. They may feel poor, they may feel like it's tough to pay those bills, but you've got bills that you can pay because you have a home. You know what I mean? Like you're blessed. You're blessed more than you probably know in each moment of now. I mean, how often do you give thanks to your bones? Give thanks to your blood. Give thanks to your eyeballs. Give thanks to the wind for cooling you down. And some do that, but I mean, just most of us will walk throughout our day not appreciating the many, many graces and the resplendent abundance that is offered in our life because we think it's supposed to look like this marketed image we've been sold. So are you facing an issue with relationship? Maybe you don't relate to your parents because they're conservative and you're not, or vice versa, whatever it is, and you feel separate from them. You feel like, wow, we're really separate and different, even though atomically you're still unified. So today I wanted to talk about separation and the separation myth. First of all, you're not separate. You're not separate from abundance and prosperity. You're not separate from relationship. All relationships are eternal. All relationships are eternal. Why? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Everything is made out of energy. I mean, like, it's a sea of energy. You can't create or destroy it. It will never go away. What's here is what we've got and what we're going to have. And also, what's here is eternally unified. So all relationships are eternal. It seems like you are this separate person having a relationship with that separate friend or mentor or lover or whoever it was that the separation happened with. But actually, energy is having a relationship with energy, and that relationship will never be destroyed. That's the actual reality. So the challenge with separation, the first challenge that we face with separation is it's a lie. It's not true. Nope, not true. We can dig in on it and be like, no, I am separate. I'm superior because of my race. I'm superior because of my gender. I'm superior because of blah, blah, or I'm inferior because of blah, 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 whatever that is. But no matter what words you choose to, or values you choose to apply to things, there is a foundational tenet of what is occurring here, and it's called energy in a sea of movement. So do you feel separate from your wellness? I'm separate from my health and wellness. Like, whew, I've got this condition, I've got this situation. And I would say, okay, but how much of your attention do you have placed with the idea that you can separate from wellness? I often tell myself whenever I'm like, oh, I slept weird on my neck, or like, oh, my knee hurts. Oh, 45, oh, my knees hurt. I will stop and remind myself, this is energy. This knee is energy. This shoulder is energy. This whole beloved being is energy. So energy doesn't stop moving. My atoms don't just go, oh, it's so hard to be a knee now that I'm 45. Like, that's not, this is a story I'm telling about my body and about the way my body relates to the world. And the beautiful thing about atoms is that they have, in my experience, a very strong tendency to listen to consciousness, to obey the master that is directing the energy forward. And so most of my medicine work as a medicine person, as a shaman, most of what I do is work to remember that separation never occurred. Separation is a delusion. It's a hallucination. It's a mass misassociation with the design. Fundamentally, that's what's going on. So if I start to get into a scarcity conversation, I'm going to turn and count my blessings. If I count all my blessings, all of my blessings, that is going to be a very busy period in my life. I'm going to have a lot to get. Oh my God. So many, especially if I'm being really honest about the magnitude of the graces that live in my life. If I really consider other people that I've met and known and that maybe aren't facing specific graces that I have in any given moment. I don't have to mobilize through life in a wheelchair because I'm blessed with this mobility. So there are graces that are tremendously helpful to me in my day. And still, there are graces in being in a wheelchair and understanding that particular design of life. So it's all about kind of the perspective and the way we work to hold our paradigm. Can we unify? Can we get back to unification? Can we get back to this place of understanding fundamentally that it's all one? I have a dear shaman friend here in Albuquerque that I'm very blessed and honored to know. I'm graced with amazing people in my life. I'm very, very blessed with phenomenal humans. My students constantly teach me and awaken me to so much, and I'm blessed with the grace of getting to have a job now where I work for myself and I get to talk with like minds about topics that fascinate me and grow and expand, and that is part of my attention. My attention has been placed on unification with that manifestation. I've placed a lot of attention on that. But my shaman friend here in Albuquerque had sent me an article because we, both being on the shamanic path, often are coming across articles on this. And I've said it before and I'll say it again here, that so many people they'll want to separate me from the word shaman and say like, oh, that's really disrespectful because only a shaman is somebody raised in a native tradition that was handed down. No. They have all these laws and regulations around words. They've separated from their freedom of speech. I don't require that of myself, that I separate from freedom of speech, A. B, like that concept of you're only a shaman if XYZ is a YOLO concept. That's a concept of you only live once. So that concept of I can't say shaman because I'm in a white woman's body stems from the idea that I'm only a white woman. Newsflash, I'm not. Newsflash, I've been gender identification variant. I've been flesh costume variant. I have inhabited, from my perspective, not right, but still mine, many different flesh costumes. And because I think time and space are a delusional concept of separation that is inaccurate, Fundamentally, I am all of those people. I am in 4th century Egypt, a male right now, as well as being Heather Marie Mackey in this moment speaking to you. I am in Indonesia with my brother, working with my mother in another lifetime right now, because all we have is now and time and space. And the concept of time and space are illusory concepts in my realm. And that's a whole nother video as we break down time and why it's such an illusion, and space, why it's such an illusion. But just to simply state it, I'm only ever here now. I do have the capacity in my here now to minimize my understanding of myself and say, oh, I'm only this being right here, right now. But just as particles have a multilocality nature by being probability waves before they collapse into a space-time locality due to there being consciousness or an observer present, I actually believe Heather has that same facet of existence and exists in multiple timelines and paradigms at once, because I think I have something much larger than an individual soul. I believe that for all of us. So we can make up whatever rules we want down here, but my point is this, is that I'm not separate, for me, from my past and future lives, which are just man-made concepts. I'm not separate from what I would call my here now other lives, my multilocalityness, my multidimensionalness. I am free in any moment of now to reattune myself to the unification that I have with everything. And if I'm feeling hurt and upset and distressed, if I look at it, if I get still and I really look at it, and I'm like, okay, I feel upset, let me be with this for a minute. If I be with it, the root is always separation. Whether my friend has hurt my feelings by holding a low opinion of me, which doesn't have to do with me and has to do with them. But let's say that's the scenario that happens, and that makes my feelings feel hurt and I feel separate. Well, newsflash, I'm not separate from them. I'm not. We're like always atonement, at one-ment, unified energy here. So what is happening is my mind is separating by being like, how mean of them to not know me, see me, or know who I am. Well, most two-legged struggle with seeing, knowing, and understanding who they are. I've struggled with that in my own life, trying to figure out who am I. So it can be unrealistic to expect your fellow brethren out there to always understand and get where you're coming from. That's not necessarily the way the world works. Understanding seems to be something that we two-leggeds are always working towards getting. And there are certain paradigms where we find it difficult. So that doesn't mean, though, just because we don't understand someone else's point of view, perspective, just because we have a strong tendency to fear the unknown, just because we have an ego matrix that tends to like to assess and judge, and it will compartmentalize certain things and things that the ego doesn't want to own, it will project. Just because that whole paradigm and that entire matrix is going on all the time, it doesn't mean that foundationally any separation has occurred. It's a decision in here where we go like, oh, I do not get that. And trust, Heather Feather has that on the daily, especially when I'm driving. I'm like, oh, okay, Granny, I'm not trying to go 4 miles an hour. You're like under school zone speeds here. And I'm like Speedy Magoo, lead foot. And so I'm not right. I'm just, I'm not right about how fast a person should go, but I might choose to feel separate from the driver in front of me that chooses a different pace or speed in life. And I might choose to feel right about what I think the speed should be. But fundamentally, I am them and they are me. So that's kind of silly. It's like going up to a mirror and just arguing with yourself. Hey, you! Like, you wouldn't go up to a mirror and fight with yourself in the mirror. Yet you do it every day, every moment of now that you ever choose to judge and choose to place separation in the throne room, in the temple chair, within the throne room of your temple of a two-legged. When you choose judgment, it creates the experience of false evidence appearing real, which is separation. So my invitation and invocation today is, are there any things that you need to take a look at and consider your unification with them in each and every way, whether that be prosperity, organization, healthiness, friendliness, friendship, others, any areas, any arenas that it's time to get on program with the unification that's always been present. Go to rarebirdmedicine.com, click on the classes link. Always more coming up, and blessed be.